The story of the military sniper is not the story of charging lines or crashing artillery. It is the story of stillness, patience, and the single, calculated moment when human breath meets absolute mechanical precision. The deadliest snipers in history were force multipliers, individuals who, through sheer skill, managed to demoralize, paralyze, and decisively shift the tactical balance of entire battles. This is the history of the 10 most lethal marksmen, a countdown chronicling their lives, their wars, and the chilling tally of their confirmed kills. Number 10. Francis Peggy Pegamagabao. Francis Pegamagabao was born in 1891 into the Parry Island Band of Ojibwa in what is now modern-day Ontario, Canada. His childhood was defined by the deep connection to the land and the mastery of tracking, hunting, and woodcraft, skills passed down through his Anishinaabe Ojibwe heritage. These abilities, learned in the dense Canadian forests, proved to be the perfect apprenticeship for the grim, concealed warfare of the European trenches. When World War I erupted in 1914, Pegamagabao volunteered for the Canadian Expeditionary Force. His enlistment was not without challenge. Despite the eagerness of Indigenous men to serve, they often faced internal prejudice within the Canadian military structure. Nevertheless, his extraordinary proficiency with a rifle was immediately recognized, and he was quickly assigned to the 23rd Battalion, later the 1st Battalion, as a scout and sniper. Pegamagabao participated in almost every significant Canadian engagement on the Western Front, including the Second Battle of Ypres, the Somme, Passchendaele, and the final 100 Days Offensive. The core of his challenge was his standard-issue weapon, the Ross rifle. While prized for its long-range accuracy, the Ross was notoriously unreliable in the mud and dirt of the trenches. Its straight-pull bolt mechanism often jammed under pressure, especially with non-standard ammunition. That Pegamagabao achieved his legendary status using this flawed instrument speaks volumes about his expertise. He compensated for the rifle's mechanical capriciousness with impeccable fieldcraft, selecting targets with clinical efficiency. His lethality was a constant threat, causing German soldiers to fear the silent, hidden Canadian sharpshooters. His confirmed kill count reached 378 Axis soldiers, making him the single most effective sniper of the Great War. Beyond his marksmanship, Pegamagabao became a hero through selfless bravery. He specialized in moving through no man's land, the wasteland between the trenches, a place where exposure meant certain death within seconds. He didn't only move to target German positions, he moved to resupply his comrades. He would brave machine gun fire and artillery barrages to retrieve ammunition from fallen soldiers, physically carrying hundreds of pounds of rounds back to his unit. This critical service, often performed during the height of desperate defensive actions, such as the brutal fighting at the Battle of the Somme in 1916, prevented Canadian lines from collapsing. Confirmed kills, 378 Axis soldiers. This count is unmatched by any other sniper in World War I. Captures, over 300 German soldiers. Awards. He was awarded the Military Medal with 2 bars, making him one of only 39 Canadians in the entire war to receive the decoration 3 times. Francis Pegamagabao returned to Canada in 1919 as the most decorated Indigenous soldier in the nation's history. Tragically, like many Indigenous veterans, he returned home to face continued neglect, poverty, and institutionalized racism. He dedicated the rest of his life to activism, serving as the chief of the Parry Island Band and as a founder of the League of Indians of Canada, advocating tirelessly for Indigenous rights and fair treatment from the government he had risked his life to defend.
He died in 1952, a national hero whose true significance was only fully recognized decades after his service. Number 9. Carlos Hathcock II. Carlos Norman Hathcock II, born in 1942, was driven from a young age to become a U.S. Marine. He enlisted at age 17 and rapidly distinguished himself on the firing range, achieving the designation of Distinguished Marksman and setting records that showcased his phenomenal natural ability. His skills were deployed in the jungles of Vietnam, where he served 2 tours, beginning in 1966. Hathcock's weapon of choice was the Winchester Model 70 rifle, a sporting arm he trusted implicitly. Hathcock was known for his calculated psychological warfare. He famously wore a white feather in his hatband while on patrol. This decision was a profound act of defiance and confidence, an open invitation to the enemy to try and find him. The North Vietnamese Army, NVA, and Viet Cong quickly recognized the devastating impact of the unseen sniper known by the Marines as Gunny. They placed a massive $30,000 bounty on Hathcock's head, a monumental sum at the time, which turned the conflict into a personal hunt. He in turn specialized in hunting down the enemy snipers sent to collect the reward. Hathcock's legend is built on 2 almost unbelievable acts of precision. The counter-sniper shot through the scope. During an intense counter-sniper operation, Hathcock spotted a faint glint of light on the distant horizon, the reflection from an enemy sniper's scope. In an instant, and with a full understanding of ballistics, he fired. The round traveled perfectly through the objective lens of the enemy scope, struck the sniper in the eye, and killed him. This shot, which required the target and the bullet to occupy the same infinitesimally small space at the exact moment of impact, is perhaps the most famous feat of sniper accuracy in history. The long crawl. In one of the most demanding missions of the war, Hathcock was tasked with assassinating a high-ranking NVA commander. To reach a firing position, he had to crawl through an open field over a distance of 1,500 yards, or 1,370 meters, of enemy-controlled terrain. The journey took him 4 days and 3 nights, forcing him to move inch by agonizing inch to avoid detection before he successfully completed the mission and safely withdrew. Hathcock also briefly held the world record for the longest documented kill, achieved using an unlikely tool, a scoped 50 caliber Browning M2 heavy machine gun. He struck his target at 2,500 yards or 2,286 meters, demonstrating that ingenuity and a mastery of external ballistics could overcome conventional weapon limitations. Lethal efficacy. Kills. 93 NVA Viet Cong. The low confirmed number is due to the extremely strict U.S. Marine Corps policy requiring both a spotter and a third-party officer to verify the kill. Estimated kills, over 300. His true combat tally is widely accepted to be far higher than the official count. Hathcock's career ended abruptly in 1969 when the armored vehicle he was riding in struck an anti-tank mine. Despite suffering severe, agonizing burns to his face, arms, and legs, he repeatedly returned to the burning wreck to pull 7 fellow Marines to safety. Though permanently injured, Hathcock never left the Corps. He dedicated the remainder of his active service to co-founding the U.S. Marine Corps Scout Sniper School at Quantico, Virginia, where he passed on his lifetime of knowledge to generations of future marksmen. He died in 1999, his legacy cemented as the archetype of the modern military sniper. Number 8. Ion Sabor, World War II, Eastern Front. Ion Sabor stands out as a highly effective but lesser-known sniper from the tumultuous landscape of World War II's Eastern Front. As a soldier fighting for the Romanian military, aligned with the Axis powers, Sabor's engagements were almost exclusively against the Soviet Red Army. His history is often overlooked, lost in the shadows cast by the massive conflict between the German and Soviet giants. Sabor fought in some of the most difficult theaters of the war, including the brutal sieges and desperate holding actions across the Ukrainian steppes and the forbidding Caucasus regions. These environments, characterized by extremes of temperature and poor visibility, demanded exceptional fieldcraft and self-reliance. Sabor's effectiveness stemmed from his clinical focus on high-value targets. Unlike snipers focused purely on achieving a high volume of kills on infantry, Sabor targeted the officers, radio operators, artillery observers, and political commissars of the Soviet forces. Eliminating these key personnel was a devastating
act of decapitation warfare, creating confusion, severing communications, and paralyzing command decisions in critical moments. His proficiency allowed him to operate successfully where others failed, specializing in long, tense waits and exploiting tactical vulnerabilities in the Soviet command chain. His ability to hit these small, specific targets in the chaotic environment of the Eastern Front marked him as an elite killer. Estimated kill count: over 370 Axis soldiers. While specific Romanian records from the period are difficult to verify, his credited total places him among the deadliest Axis snipers of the war. Sabor's career illustrates that lethality is not solely about volume. It is about the strategic impact of the targets eliminated. By consistently targeting command and control, Sabor managed to inflict operational paralysis far outweighing his numerical count.
Number 7. Adalbert F. Waldron III, Vietnam War. Adalbert, or Bert Waldron III, was a U.S. Army Staff Sergeant who deployed with the 9th Infantry Division to the Mekong Delta region of Vietnam. While Hathcock represented the Marine Corps sniper elite, Waldron epitomized the Army's methodical, rapid deployment approach in the dense, waterlogged environment of the Delta. Waldron's strength was his consistency and ability to adapt. The Delta was a chaotic mix of water, thick vegetation, and hidden threats, demanding a different kind of patience than the mountain forests. Waldron's career is highlighted by a shot that briefly gave him the global record for the longest confirmed kill, showcasing his ability to calculate and execute under dynamic conditions. The incident: Waldron was operating on a moving riverine patrol craft, a boat constantly shifting with the current and engine vibration. He spotted a Viet Cong sniper high in a coconut palm tree. In a matter of seconds, compensating for the boat's movement, the water's swell, and the wind, he fired. The single round struck the Viet Cong sniper at a distance of 900 yards, 823 meters. This shot demonstrated an extraordinary level of quick, adaptive precision, surpassing all previous confirmed records at the time until later reassessments of Carlos Hathcock's .50 caliber shot were completed. Confirmed kills: 109 Viet Cong or NVA. Time frame: Waldron achieved this total in less than 8 months of service. The concentration and high rate of fire over such a short period demonstrate a sustained, clinical application of his skill. Waldron's service proved that the American sniper had fully adapted to the jungle theater, capable of rapid and deadly efficiency in one of the most challenging environments in modern warfare. Number 6. Vasily Zaitsev, World War II, Battle of Stalingrad. Vasily Grigoryevich Zaitsev, born in 1915 in the Ural Mountains, carried the skills of a lifetime of hunting from the taiga forests into the most apocalyptic urban battle in history, the Battle of Stalingrad, 1942 to 1943. His expertise was immediately apparent when he began eliminating German targets with a simple Mosin Nagant M9130 rifle. Zaitsev's arrival in the ruined city coincided with a desperate need for Soviet heroes. His rapidly rising kill count provided the perfect figurehead for morale. He was pulled from the infantry and assigned to organize and lead a sniper team, earning the title Hero of the Soviet Union. The Soviet propaganda machine turned Zaitsev into a national icon, inflating his story to rally the demoralized nation. The central narrative focused on the legendary sniper duel between Zaitsev and an allegedly elite German countersniper, often referred to as Major Koenig or Erwin Koenig, sent from Berlin specifically to eliminate the Soviet threat. While the existence and identity of Koenig are still debated by historians, the narrative, culminating in Zaitsev waiting for days in a trench before successfully outwitting and killing the German, was immensely powerful. It symbolized the victory of the resilient, clever Soviet citizen over the technological might of the Wehrmacht. Zaitsev's legacy is not just his personal tally, but the hundreds of students he taught. He formalized a sniper school inside the ruins of Stalingrad, teaching the art of the hidden shot and how to establish sixes, or three-man sniper teams. The students he taught were often called Zaychata, or little hares. Confirmed kills: 242 Axis soldiers and officers over the period of the Battle of Stalingrad. Estimated kills: up to 400. Indirect impact: the hundreds of snipers he trained collectively accounted for several thousand additional German casualties, dramatically increasing the effectiveness of Soviet light infantry. Number 5. Ludmila Pavlichenko, World War II, the Lady Death. Ludmila Mikhailovna Pavlichenko, born in 1916, was studying history at Kyiv University when Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union, began in 1941. Like millions of other Soviet citizens, she immediately volunteered. Despite initially being told to serve as a nurse, her pre-war marksmanship proficiency, learned in civilian shooting clubs, convinced the Red Army to assign her as a sniper to the 25th Rifle Division. She became one of the approximately 2,000 female snipers who served in the Soviet forces. Pavlichenko was deployed to the brutal defensive sieges of Odessa and Sevastopol. These battles were characterized by relentless shelling and close-quarters fighting. Pavlichenko thrived in this hellscape. She quickly established her reputation not just by killing infantry, but by specializing in the most dangerous task: counter-sniping. Her tally of kills against enemy snipers, men specifically trained to hunt her, is a testament to her tactical genius and superior patience. Her 309 kills included officers, high-value targets, and a formidable 36 Axis snipers. Confirmed kills: 309 Axis personnel, including 36 snipers. This makes her the deadliest female sniper in history. In 1942, Pavlichenko was wounded by mortar shrapnel. Recognizing her immense value as a hero, the Soviet command pulled her from the front lines and assigned her to a propaganda tour of the Allied countries. Touring the United States, Canada, and the UK, she was tasked with inspiring the Allies to open a second front in Europe. During her time in the United States, she famously encountered sexist attitudes from the American press, who focused on her appearance and clothes rather than her service. In response to a reporter who asked if she wore makeup, she retorted, "The only look I worry about is the one I get down the barrel of my rifle." Her tour was an immense success, casting her as the fierce, unapologetic face of the Soviet war effort. She ended the war as a major, training new generations of snipers. Number 4. Fyodor Okhlakov, World War II, Eastern Front. Personal vengeance on the front. Fyodor Matveyevich Okhlakov, born in 1908, was a Yakut, a Turkic people native to Siberia. Like many of the Red Army's most effective snipers, he carried the inherent fieldcraft of a lifetime of hunting into combat. Okhlakov's initial service was as a machine gunner, but he soon became obsessed with killing the invaders after his brother, who was fighting alongside him, was killed in action. Driven by personal vengeance, he transferred to a sniper role, using the Mosin Nagant and later the SVT-40 semi-automatic rifle. Okhlikov was known for his sheer tenacity. He was one of the most aggressive snipers on the Eastern Front, often positioning himself deep into enemy territory to maximize his kills. His high effectiveness meant he was constantly targeted, yet he continued to survive and return to action, sustaining 12 separate wounds throughout the war, a testament to his almost superhuman resilience. His kill count grew steadily through participation in some of the most sustained and chaotic infantry battles, demonstrating a consistently high level of lethal output over multiple years of fighting. Okhlikov was named a Hero of the Soviet Union after the war, a recognition of the deadly focus and bravery he maintained despite numerous horrific injuries.
Number 3. Nikolai Ilyin, World War II, Eastern Front. Nikolai Yakovlevich Ilyin was a contemporary of Zaitsev and Pavlichenko, forging his formidable reputation in the maelstrom of the Eastern Front, particularly around the battles for Stalingrad and the Crimean campaigns. Unlike some of his counterparts, Ilyin was recognized for his incredibly patient, methodical approach to the sniper trade. Ilyin's strength was in establishing nearly invisible firing positions, or nests, often waiting for days in a single location to ensure the perfect shot. In the relentless, chaotic combat of the Eastern Front, where soldiers often suffered from exhaustion, the ability to maintain stillness, focus, and patience for extended periods was the difference between life and death, and between a few dozen kills and hundreds. He participated in continuous, high-intensity actions, leading to the rapid accumulation of his monumental kill count. The scale of the Eastern Front fighting provided immense opportunities, and Ilyin possessed the technical skill and psychological fortitude to consistently capitalize on them. Confirmed kills: 494 Axis soldiers. This near 500 total is one of the highest recorded for any sniper in human history. His precision was so high that nearly every shot he took was a confirmed kill on an enemy soldier. Ilyin's nearly 1,000 count underscores the brutal, sustained nature of the Soviet-German conflict and the unparalleled effectiveness of its snipers. Number 2. Ivan Sidorenko, World War II, Eastern Front. Ivan Mikhailovich Sidorenko, born in 1919, began his service not as a sniper, but as a mortar company commander. However, his latent talent for long-range precision was so evident that he was quickly transferred to a specialized sniper role. Sidorenko eventually rose to the rank of major, distinguishing himself not just with his direct kills, but with his innovative tactics and unparalleled instructional capacity. Sidorenko became highly effective at targeting not just enemy troops, but their equipment. He was a specialist in using incendiary rounds to destroy armored vehicles, fuel trucks, and ammunition depots from long distances, tasks usually reserved for anti-tank weaponry or artillery. This broadened the strategic value of the single sniper. Most importantly, Sidorenko's impact became exponential through teaching. He personally trained over 250 snipers for the Red Army. The snipers he trained were highly successful and collectively achieved a kill total estimated to be in the tens of thousands, solidifying Sidorenko's role as a force multiplier. Confirmed kills: 500 Axis soldiers. Indirect impact: trained over 250 snipers, whose combined kill total is estimated to be over 10,000. Sidorenko's legacy is a fusion of direct combat lethality and instructional genius, making him one of the most consequential snipers of the war.
Number 1. Simo Häyhä, Winter War, The White Death. Simo Häyhä, born in 1905, was a Finnish farmer and hunter who at 5 feet 3 inches tall became the most devastating single shooter in military history. His legend was forged during the Winter War, 1939 to 1940,
when the overwhelming Soviet Red Army invaded Finland. The Soviets, expecting a quick victory, encountered fierce resistance led by men like Heiha. Clad entirely in white camouflage, Heiha was nearly invisible against the pristine snow of the Finnish forests, perfectly utilizing the terrain he had mastered since childhood. His skill and deadly effectiveness earned him the Soviet moniker Belaya Smert, the White Death. Heiha's extraordinary kill count was achieved in only 98 days of fighting, in temperatures that often dropped below -20 degrees Celsius. His methods were simple, yet tactically brilliant, relying on his intimate knowledge of the environment and a bolt-action SVT M2830 rifle that was a Finnish variation of the Mosin Nagant. The core of his genius lay in avoiding optical scopes, preferring his rifle's iron sights for 3 critical reasons. Lower profile. Using iron sights allowed him to keep his head lower, minimizing his exposure to enemy fire. No fogging. Scopes would rapidly fog up in the extreme cold, making them useless. No glint. Crucially, scopes reflect sunlight, creating a telltale glint that instantly betrays a sniper's position. Furthermore, he devised ingenious fieldcraft techniques. The ice barrier. When taking a shot, he would pack snow tightly in front of his firing position and pour water over it, allowing it to freeze. This ice barrier prevented the muzzle blast from kicking up loose snow, which would instantly reveal his location to Soviet observers. The silent breath. To prevent the steamy plume of his breath from rising in the cold air, he would often hold snow in his mouth, cooling his breath before exhalation. The sheer volume of his kills in such a compressed time frame remains unparalleled. Heiha focused on maximizing his daily kill count, often eliminating dozens of enemy soldiers in a single day. Rifle kills. 505+ confirmed kills with his iron-sighted rifle. SMG kills. Nearly 200 more kills were achieved using a Suomi KP-31 submachine gun in close-quarters combat. Total count. Over 705 kills. This is the highest confirmed kill count by any individual sniper in the history of warfare. The Soviets, desperate to stop him, mounted specific counter-sniper teams and artillery strikes, all targeting areas where the White Death was suspected to be operating. Heiha evaded them all until March 6, 1940, when he was finally struck in the face by an explosive bullet, a type of round that was banned by the Russian Empire itself in 1868. He suffered catastrophic facial injuries, losing much of his jaw, and fell into a coma. He was rescued and survived, regaining consciousness on March 13th, the day the Winter War concluded. Simo Heiha returned to his farm, living out the rest of his long life peacefully as a humble hero, ever holding the title of history's most devastating sniper. And there you have it, the cold, hard history of the 10 most lethal snipers. From the snowy hell of the Winter War to the jungle heat of Vietnam, these marksmen proved that one person, one rifle, and one perfect moment of stillness can change the course of history. If you were chilled by the stories of Simo Heiha's ghost-like efficiency, Ludmila Pavlichenko's resilience, or Carlos Hathcock's impossible shots, then let us know in the comments below. Which sniper on this list do you think had the greatest strategic impact? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more deep dives into military history, and hit the notification bell. And if you want to see how these lethal figures compare to the most decorated soldiers of World War II, click the video on your screen right now. We'll see you in the next one.